Good evening. This is welcome to Dead Air Alive. We are here to feature the 23rd Vernon Street Open Studios, and my name is Shole Regna. I'm here with Jane Sherrill and Anthony Day, and we are very much interested in inviting you to join us on Mother's Day weekend, which is May 13th and 14th, for our event. Anthony has been organizing this year, so I would like to ask him if he could tell us more about it.
I certainly can tell you a little bit about it. We have, I believe, 51 artists this year, which covers a wide range of artists and artwork, I should say, but there's a wide range of artists as well, ranging in different points in their careers. Not all of them. I mean, some newcomers, some that have been there for several years. You said that this is the 23rd Open Studios. Vernon Street has been doing Open Studios since 1975. I've been there since 1997, and this is my first year coordinating. But the range of artwork is printmaking and sculpture and people that do performances and drawings and photography. Everything, really. Ceramics.
Mixed media.
And we're located at 6 and 20 Vernon Street, which is in Somerville. Highland, off of Highland Ave. The cross street is called Central Street, and you can get to Vernon Street from there. We're excited to do it. The event is from noon to 5 on Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
And
Free?
And it's free, and there's free parking. And there will be a silent auction. Artists are donating to different charities of their choice. They're giving a percentage of the proceeds to the charity that they have, the chosen charity, right? Yeah. The charity they have chosen. And well.
Do we have this year again our T-shirts?
There will be T-shirts.
Oh, fabulous! That's great. Last year we gave the donations, all the proceeds to Respond, and this year, do we know what we're going to do?
Well, we're leaving it up to the artists this year. Respond will be one of them, and other, but there are local Somerville charities, just because we want artists to focus on interests that they have in the community, and since there are so many people, we're leaving it up to them. And the details will be posted during the event, and it will be a silent auction. People can bid on the works. Will be in display in the individual artist's studio, and they'll be able to bid in them when they're visiting each artist.
Oh, that's cool. That's different. That's very nice.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Very much so.
Well, thank you, Tony. Well, Jane, we have some slides of your work, and we're wondering if you could talk about what you've been working this past year. Is this something that you've been doing this year, or have you been working on them for a number of years, this series that you've been doing?
This series is pretty much this year, though I did the first two last year, towards the end of last year, and I'm very excited about this series. I think it's some of the best work I've ever done. It's called Yosef's Bones, and it's all human bones. And it comes from, it's hard to describe actually. I went back to my religion, and I've become very interested in the images from the Bible. And there's a point in the Bible where Yosef, the character Joseph, tells his brothers to take his bones out of Egypt with them when they, during the Exodus. And they do, they remember. Moses remembers and takes the bones, and they carry them through the desert for 40 years, and then they're reburied in the book of Joshua in the Holy Land. And for some reason this really moves me, and I'm not even quite sure why. I keep trying to figure that out. And that's part of why I painted these, so that I could figure that out. Part of it is my father who died. His name is Joseph, and his death is what brought me back into my religion. So these are very powerful paintings for me. I'm very excited about them.
So you've been thinking about time, about passage of time, or about...
Yes, and about what you carry of your ancestors. This whole idea of remembering. What is memory all about? Why do we need it? What is it you're remembering? You know, the whole, and how do I carry these things? And it feels to me when I'm painting these bones that this is part of how I carry the bones. And it feels like a very loving act, too, to be carrying. It's like, what is it you're carrying of your ancestors? You know, what are these bones really all about? What is the metaphor? What does it mean? And it's very, very exciting to me. And I've begun tearing them and adding on pieces where the bones kind of come out in certain areas. I add a piece of paper to add on to them. I feel very free when I'm painting them. They're very freeing, and I've been really trying to paint them very loosely. I think it's some of the finest painting I've ever done, quite frankly.
Well, that's very interesting.
Yes, right.
It fascinates me
Right.
because I also deal with issue of time with my work, and I very much am interested to hear about your reasoning and what it does for you. I mean, that's very
Well, it seems like it connects you connects you with past, present, and future somehow, which I think that's part of what I've been working on. In going back to my religion, it's like this connection, connecting me up to my people, my past, my present, my future, just connecting this whole thing all together and adding me in to this community that I was born into, that I was raised in, which never meant anything to me till now.
Now you find belonging in this line of time,
right,
which is very nice.
Exactly.
Yeah, a realized continuity, or does that mean that because you're kind of coming back to it, does that mean that you are kind of realizing that a new continuity, or from the past to the present in yourself, and something that you want to pass on into the future? Or is it, I mean, that's kind of maybe precise and maybe not exactly what you're trying to deal with.
I guess I'm trying to really connect myself somehow. I have always felt myself, I guess as an artist also, as someone who's kind of outside of what's going on, of what is happening in the world or whatever. And, well, I guess not in the world, but what's happening in the community or with other people. I've always kind of felt myself separate, that I have to do my work separately.
Well, I mean, it is a very isolating work,
Yes,
and
right.
you are on your own, and your
That's right.
thoughts and issues that you work about, and that's, I think, Tony's.
Yes,
Where is
right.
it? Yes, good.
There's,
Yeah.
right.
Great, great.
Is it my turn already?
Is it?
Well, no, well, we can
Okay,
still talk
great,
about it
good.
if you
There's my
like.
bone.
So is this sort of always when you begin a project, is this something that over the years have you thought about connections between the different themes that you've been working on? I mean, do you tend to go over the same kind but different angles, or things that are connected, issues that are connected, you think?
I'm not quite sure. Right now, in all of my painting, I seem to be struggling with issues of myself and my religion. And the whole trying to understand this wonderful mythical book, the Bible. I mean, I feel funny talking about it as an artist because that's kind of out. But, but this is what
It's never
has
out,
been
I don't
turning
think.
me on, It's this wonderful path towards consciousness, and what does that mean, and how does it connect in my life? So that's...
Well, it's an intellectual pursuit, very much worth taking
yes,
on. I mean, it's
right.
very interesting.
Right, right.
Well, sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, we're going to start with you. If you want to
Pass the-
show us
All right,
your
I think
slides and
absolutely.
talk about them.
I'll start with the first one. I guess my mode of operation is that, in general, I try to incorporate a couple of different things, a human element and then elements that are derived from like our visual surroundings, meaning if it could be something that I just simply see and interpret and actually paint or actually transfer in, meaning that I would use the process of transfer and try to do it kind of directly, which would, I take an advertisement or a picture of that I've seen in the newspaper, and I simply either paste it on to the painting. The main, most of the paintings that I have here today are fairly formal in their kind of end product. Because I like to leave, room for the viewer to use their own interpretation. I don't want to I don't have like a political agenda or something like that I feel like they should try to, understand something that I'm trying to get across.
But do you have a sense of what they are about, or they just?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
In the end, I have a hard time saying that they're about one thing. But I get my paintings from the inspiration. I do them from inspiration, and I guess a good example would be I like to think about how people identify with automobiles, and I started to think for a while about how we've translated our own identity into automobiles. Like, that person drives that kind of car, they're that kind of person, X, Y, and Z. And so I started using tires a lot in my artwork, because we use it for transportation and then to get our, fulfill our daily needs. And so as a part of our identity, as well as part of our subsistence. And so I thought there was a way to incorporate a human aspect without directly, insinuating like we are, or saying, using the figure, I guess, in a place of using the figure. A better example would be like, if you're waiting for a friend to pick you up, sometimes when you're on the street waiting for them to come, you're not looking for your friend to come, you're looking for their car. And you identify, you say, oh, that's my friend, they drive that kind of car. And I thought, it's got a huge a room for interpretation. What does that all mean? And it's our modern times,
Are these real tires, or are they paintings of tires? Real pieces of tire, or?
Well, I do some other work where I use real pieces of tire, but these that I have here tonight are all paintings. Some of them derive from an advertisement for like tire sales or something like that, and I'll take that and I'll photocopy it, and then you can do a print from that onto canvas. A piece that I have here is called Two Figures Tired with Hammerhead, and it's kind of a and it's a play on words, it's a pun, because it's not two tired figures, or it is two tired, but it's just figures that have an overlay of a tire on their face or on their torso, and then at the lower bottom is this kind of amorphous figure that I call a hammerhead. It's a hammerhead to me. Anyway, and it's kind of like, the primitiveness is the hammerhead, represented by the hammerhead. Like, we don't think about how we really exist. It's just that we exist the way we do, and that's the end of it. But there are also repercussions, and so these are things that I can't avoid. They just, they come to me, and while I'm trying to sleep at night. So.
Well, they're talking about things that you can't avoid. I have seen one of your pieces, which remind me very much. I know you're from Texas. It reminds me from landscape from there, herds of animals and landscape, and it's just a different kind of a scenery than we would get here.
Absolutely.
So this is interesting.
I definitely come from I'm from Houston, Texas, and it's a car culture. Much more significantly than Boston. Public transportation there is it's needy, I should say. Anyway, and people get in their car. When you say we're going to the restaurant and it's 4 friends together, 4 people get into 4 cars and go to the restaurant. Carpooling is unheard of, and you can't get anywhere if you're walking. You can, but it takes a long time and it's very warm. So, other images that I have in the work deal with. I guess, the human figure and the aspect of things coming in, like I said, the advertisement or images that are from the outside world, or photographic representational images. And I use that as a different kind of how you create your reality around you. And I use the photographic image as a kind of a, what do you call it? An analogy to like the real. It's not, I mean, we all know that it's not, because especially in this computer age, that you know that a photograph can be doctored or whatever. But we kind of do that with our own visual reality and our own actual reality. You know, we doctor it, or we think of it, we interpret it in our own special way, and it's not wrong to do that. I mean, it's expected, and so I try to use that in my painting. But it's kind of more like a ritual than it is a ritual to say this is this is how we really relate to the world. In my own mind, of course. Like I said, I like to leave it open for the viewer, but I have my thoughts about them. It's just that, you know, I tend to think that these works that I'm showing tonight are fairly formal. Mm-hmm. I don't know what painting I'm on at this point. But anyway.
So your stuff is kind of humorous.
It does have some.
Great.
It does have some humor, and there is some. I try to put a little psychological kind of a little upheaval in there, but I have a love for the beauty, and I look for the beauty in the way we are. It's you know, it's the most important thing to appreciate and enjoy the world around you.
So how do you think your upbringing, where you grew up, specifically comes out in your work? How do you think it surfaces? How do you think it manifests itself?
I've been around since then, but I guess, you know,
the palette of color, the imagery.
There is that. I mean, but you know, I had an opportunity to travel somewhat since then, and so I've had a lot of different influences, and I think that I'm more influenced by, you know, art world stuff, you know, museums and works that I've seen than I am about, you know, I don't feel like a particular land pride or a geographic pride in that sense that it influences it specifically. I do like, you know, a big sky. Definitely, I like a big horizon, and it's not something you get in Boston, but and I miss that, but and maybe that's in there. I mean, it's in there. I hear it all the time. It's just that it's subconscious.
Mm-hmm. Great. So this is the two figure on a crossroad. It looked like. What's the name of it?
Is it the two tired figures in the hammer? No.
Perhaps it's just one is smaller and one larger figure, and looks like a road, crossroads.
Oh my goodness! Yes, this painting is probably a lot different. This one is called Wisdom and Knowledge. And maybe this is one of my more psychological pieces, because it is you know, it represents a cityscape that is kind of deteriorated and smoggy, and knowledge and wisdom, and it's about, you know, Western culture and what we promote as terms of ideals and economy and capitalism and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So. Not the concept of knowledge and wisdom in those forms aren't necessarily beautiful things, but anyway, I think my time is up, and I should push it on to you.
Okay.
Oh.
This is yes, and this is, I guess, my
great
slides. Thank you,
Thank
Tony.
you very much.
Okay.
So what can you say about your work?
I actually have been working feverishly lately. Got a very late start, but I'm hoping to have everything done by the time we arrive on May 13th, hopefully. What I've been working on has been having a lot to do with biotechnology and what is going on in terms of the politics of that, and with the new knowledge that is being gained, and the ownership of that knowledge seems to be very, very dangerous, and I'm very concerned about it. I feel like, you know, this is something that moves me very much. I feel like blueprint of life really can't be owned, even if you have been able to sequence it and can manipulate it. That doesn't mean that you can actually own it. So I'm doing installations about these issues, and also have been every year before Open Studios. I give myself 6 months to really to come up with new work and new medium, and this year has been actually videos. And I've been taking classes here and have made a couple of videos, which I'm actually quite pleased with this knowledge, because I can use it in my work, and it's very good for me. I like it. I like it very much. So I made it.
Show videos at Open Studios.
Yes, yes.
That's
So I made
great.
video of the installation, and the video itself is another work now, because it says different things. It says it more. It says what I was trying to do with the installation more completely. And there is like, it's not just documentation of what I have done. It's like, that's what I thought I was going to do. I was just going to document, but it turned out that it actually, it's a work on itself. You know, it's got its own merit and its own point. So I'm quite happy about it. And it has opened up a new ways of dealing with my sculpture work, because I'm able to investigate different ways of looking at it and see what I can do. So I'm very pleased about them. And
can you tell us a little bit of how you think the video works better than the installation? And is that
to give you a
bit of an idea?
yeah, well, I mean, for instance, the Time River, the installation Time River that I did, I don't have it's in my studio, and it has the audio part of it, which is not audible all that much when there are lots of people around. And this particular one, I'm able to have the audio and the visual, and also interplay. And people cannot really get too close to every element and see them, and to really spend enough time to comprehend what is out there. And with video, I'm able to explore a lot of different ideas behind the installation, and it is also about the Time River is about time, and then installation is a static thing. So this is just a perfect vehicle, I think. So it's really neat. And the other things, I'm hoping that I get finished is indeed, I have always wanted to enlarge my pieces that are organic, very bone-like shapes, into very, very large landscape type pieces that you could walk in and around them. And now I can do it with camera, much cheaply. It's very interesting. So I'm delighted in that sense.
Are you like projecting them, or is it simply
I
viewed
actually
on a monitor?
I was actually thinking, it would be tremendous if I had one of those huge screens like that size of a wall, you know, that you can stay in the room and actually see what is going on in a different scale than a little monitor, which that's not possible for me. So I'm going to be using a little monitor, but it's definitely got potential in that sense to be experienced in a larger scale. So, well, I wanted to ask you, the time that we have left, to talk a little about, unless you have something specifically to say. Oh, I should actually show my slides, huh? We can take a look at the this particular tape that I made, the video of the Time River that I have made, which it's 3 minutes long, and we could see that one at least.
Great.
And I also have some slides to show. But the slides are about my monotypes, which is my getting a fix from working with color. I love color so much, and I'm able to satisfy that need. So here's the tape is ready, and we can roll that. Thank you. Yes, the Time River is about how I see we are so much alike, and what unites us all is the time that it goes by us like a river, and we are like stationary if you think about it. And so I feel like it's a unfortunate thing that people see differences more than they see similarities, and we are so much alike. It's frightening. I mean, it's the more you know about it, the more you realize that there is not really worth no difference is really perceived difference is worth any anger or trouble that you see around the world that is based on perceived differences. So it's about that, and so I made all these portraits of people from different ethnicities, and to be the rocks of this river, and also some in resin that they look like water that are bubbling up, some birth and some death, and so it's about sort of unity among diversity. And so genetic stuff is also ties in very much because it is about that, and I see again just unfortunate this ownership situation, which is really sad to me, and I feel like it needs to be talked about. And there are petitions that you can voice your opinion about this stuff that is happening.
How did you make those heads?
I teach a class, portrait class, and as a tool in my class, I use a mask that I make of the model. So I have all these masks, so I just looked at the mask and I just made a sketch from it. So that's how I made it, and I casted it in something opaque like plaster, and also in resin. So
some of them look like you could see into them or see through them.
They are resin,
correct?
yes. They are just like water, crystal indeed. And then if there is any light thrown on them, they glow. I mean, it's very interesting.
I could see.
Yeah.
Against the black, it looked wonderful.
Yeah. So sort of, to me, I couldn't really create a real river in my studio. So I thought, okay, what would be a good metaphor? I mean, a good way of saying, water, and so something clear, and so that's what it took a shape of.
I'd like to just say that it's nice because on top of it, time being a river in this piece that is kind of passing through us all, or we're all connected to, the water as an analogy also kind of insinuates it being recycled, or if you think of a water cycle that evaporates and then condensates and falls down again on the same spot even.
Oh, how nice. I didn't think of that. That's very nice.
It made me think of that. I thought it was nice.
Oh, that's nice perspective to have. See, I mean, you can't think of everything. So I'd love to be able to actually come together with other artists and talk about our work, because we all have insight that we could share, and it's very nice to hear other perspectives and create a community. And this is a good opportunity that I should also mention. I'm very much interested in producing. I'm going to be producing a program that will be conversation with individual artists, and will be aired in Somerville, and there will be a discussion with and other artists that would be coming in to form a community to do just that, talk about our work in that format.
Like a roundtable format?
Roundtable format. But going back to Open Studios, what does Open Studio do for you? You've done it for many, many years. What does it do for you?
I feel like I'm the old timer among the three of us.
Since how long you've been there? I was just thinking.
I was trying to figure that out. I think it's definitely been over 15 years.
Over 15?
Yes, right. But I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. I'm not exactly sure how. Maybe 17 years. And sometimes I've liked it, and sometimes I haven't, quite frankly. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it this year because I love the work and I want to hear what the people have to say. One of the things that I love about it that happens every so often is that people will come in who don't, I mean, all kinds of people come in. And I remember a couple of years having people come in who had the courage to come up to me. They didn't understand my work. They were uncomfortable with it. And I remember one woman in particular coming up to me and instead of, well, kind of quietly asking me questions, and we began to talk, and I began to talk to her about how we go about seeing things as artists, because that's really what we're expressing, how we go about perceiving. And it was very, very interesting. It was a great deal of fun, and I felt like afterwards she looked around at my paintings and had a whole different feeling about them, and I got a kick out of that. I loved it. So it was kind of like a little bit of education, because I think sometimes our work can be hard to understand, and it's kind of put in the category of this thing you have to know all about.
Yeah, this is
to
the thing, for
understand.
people to come in. I've always found that it's very interesting when something that I am not sure what I'm looking at, and if I talk with person and I get more information about it, about their process or their thought, I get so much more out of it, and in
That's
fact
right.
it stays with me, and I remember it far past that date, you know. I mean, it's very interesting. It allows people to interact and gain knowledge and even support the arts, which is really nice thing to
Yes,
do.
right.
Support the people that have been at it for a long time and the people that are just starting, and send them send them good vibes and to good directions.
Yes,
So,
right,
you know,
right.
it's all about sharing. So it's a great thing. So you've been doing this for just a couple of years.
I had my first open studios in 1998, and I had never participated in anything like that. There's many reasons why open studios are a good thing and are a great thing for artists.
For you, what is it for you?
No. For me first. Of
You
course.
first.
Well, I mean, as an artist, I find it useful to. I mean, it's a way of kind of stepping back from your work because you're kind of preparing it to some degree for an audience, and so it allows you to kind of it gives you a point in a year to focus on how you are focusing on your artwork and kind of picking out pieces that you think are successful and are a good group of work that communicate a clear idea, and that is not always something that you're focusing on while you're in your studio every day. I mean, you're experimenting, or it might be like you're going through some drudgery, or it's a chore to get there and to do the work, but to be able to stop and take a breath and clean it up.
Clean up your
space.
But another great thing is that I know that with a lot of, there's a lot of artists in the building, and for many of them, it's always a rat race to be running around trying to get it into this exhibition if it's a competition, and there's a lot of artists even just in the building. If we were, it's not like a competition, but to meet some of your career goals, it's tough to get it in the gallery, and so the studio, open studios, allows people to invite the public, have a public showing of their work, and it doesn't have all of the stipulations that what you're supposed to do and have in a gallery, and it can be some more exciting or informal work, but it can be stuff that you aren't necessarily hoping to ever show in a gallery. It can be your whole process,
That's true.
and it can be everything from the sketches, and people have a chance to see the entire creative process in its entirety and where it takes place. For the artist, they can see from the sketches to paintings and watercolors all the way through a final sculpture or something like that, and it'll be there in front of them, and it's something that it's unless it's a giant retrospective, you don't ever get to see of artists in spaces that are gallery spaces.
And it is very nice as well for people to go and follow someone's progress every year.
That's
And a
right.
lot of people do go back
do that.
specifically
People
to do that,
definitely do that,
yes,
right, which
is
is very
very
nice.
nice.
Yes,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
So I see a lot of people. I organized our open studios for the past couple of years, and it is a lot of people kind of hesitate doing it because here you are opening your space to people, your work that you create in solitude all of a sudden becomes public, and strangers come through, and it's very invasive in a way. It feels a lot of invasiveness that people feel, that they've expressed to me, and I feel like in 2 days you might be able to actually hear some interesting couple of people that might be really, really interested in your work, and talk about in a way that because of nature of what we do being so isolating, you don't get to hear that, and it's very nice to have that extra fresh input, and it's a good opportunity, I think, for everyone, regardless of whether you are successful financially or not.
And there are things that happen. I mean,
Yeah.
the show I'm about to have after Open Studios has come through Open Studios.
Now, when is your show going to be?
It starts May 25th, well, no, May 22nd through July 7th at Arlington Center for the Arts, Gibbs Gallery there. And the opening is May 25th from 6 to 8.
Great.
Yes, right.
Well, congratulations. Good luck
Yes,
with it.
right.
That's
right.
terrific.
It's also nice to sit there among, this is something that I find every year, after cleaning up like you were talking about,
Right.
you know, getting the studio all gussied up and putting all the paintings around, and then sit there in the midst of it. You really get and soak it up. What have I done? You know, it's a chance to kind of take some stock of what you've done
Yeah, exactly.
that year.
Exactly.
And where do you want to go next, you know? What do you like? And sometimes you find there's that painting over there I don't like, you know? Or that one over there is my favorite, or, you know, it's just, it's very interesting. You wind up learning from your own work, which is very important, and from the people who come through, very definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So it has many benefits from both sides, you know,
That's
from
right.
both sides. It's very nice. I forgot, I have some slides as well, so I wanted to show. The first one is about, it's called Heritage Installation Number 1, which again has to do with our common heritage of us being product of evolution and life that has evolved over these years, and we have again so much in common, and our future is before us, and it's about those issues that I talked about earlier. And next one is series of very much bone-like. It has to do with natural shapes. I looked at endoskeleton comparative zoology museum here at Harvard is a great place to go and visit, because you could see so many different creatures, and they have so much in common, so many shapes that keep reoccurring, and I think about logic behind the shapes that exist, and what we as living beings actually how we feel having those shapes within us to be in and amongst these forms. What does that do for us? What kind of a bringing home does that do for us? I feel like that would be a good place. That my other video has to do with kind of travel inside of these shapes. So I'm hoping to try to achieve that anyway. I don't know, it's a difficult thing.
I was wondering, what does it mean to you as an artist to work in something as varied as these very amorphous, organic, bone-like shapes, and as opposed to something like video? And how does that kind of does that tie together for you, or is it something that's separate? And
Well, it's a tool, just like you use palette knife to do one kind of effect and brush for another. I use different medium to say different things. There is no, I don't feel any limitation, and like I'm only a painter, I'm only a sculptor, I'm only this or that. Whatever medium is there for me to use if I need to express something, and that's what I'll do. So I don't like to stick with one thing. In fact, I always need to find inventing something. I cannot do something I've done before. It makes me really upset if I have to, and I sometimes have to for financial reasons, and that really, really is difficult for me. But what it comes from my soul is always inventing something I have not seen before.
Great.
So that's like my
Great.
direction. And then I do some monotypes, a lot of bird imagery, and that has to do with the fact that they're colorful. I love color, and that kind of satisfies that need I have. And it's part of nature, and it also represents freedom to me. I feel like birds are free, they can fly anywhere, no border is no fence is tall enough, no border has got enough guns, no patrols. Any partition is not bounding. In other words, these creatures, they can fly anywhere and feel sense of belonging wherever they happen to land. So that's why I'm using these imagery and having fun with it. Playing with paint. It's a totally different thing than dealing with matter. Creating things, creating tall things, small things. All these different sizes. So it's a different vehicle. And some landscapes, specifically from Bornholm, very colorful houses that I was on an island, and it is so fabulous how wonderful the use of color, the pigments that they use to color the surfaces of their buildings. It's extremely vivid colors because they don't use regular paint, and these are coming from earth, and they are whitewashed, but they're very colorful. I mean, they add ochre and iron oxide and different elements from the earth, and they get some colors, and it colors changes by which time of day you go to every location. So some wall that might be yellow in the morning would be orange in the afternoon, and it's really amazing. So I'm delighted to be remembering those colors when I make these monotypes.
And you do these monotypes at the same time as you're doing these other things?
Yes, they are. Yes,
Wonderful.
this is gel print monotype. This is something you do not need a press for. I could do it in my space, in my studio, and it's very fast in a way that you use water-based everything and supposedly non-toxic, and it's in a safer way. You could establish your imagery.
That's great.
So I'm happy playing with that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So what do you feel like are you finished with your projects for this open studio? Yes, you've met your goals?
I try not to wait till open studios to finish my things.
Oh, good for you. That is great.
I try to keep working straight up until, of course, but I think it's dangerous for me to use my deadline like this to rush a piece. I have a tendency to make mistakes, I suppose, or injure the artwork if I'm trying to make it go faster than it wants to go. I work on a lot of pieces at once, but I have plenty of work for this year, and I'm excited.
That's nice. Any
excited
new that is a new direction for you this particular year?
I'm planning to show digital work, sculptures, watercolors, paintings, and that covers what I do basically. I don't do anything else than that.
It's nice to see a whole range of someone's work. It's lovely.
Yeah.
And
I think it's wonderful that we all do different kinds of things as well.
And you perform,
I'm a performer
which is so
as well.
wonderful.
But
yeah.
I think there's this weird myth that people have that you have to do one thing or else you're not serious.
Exactly.
And this is not true. We are creative people, and
Yes.
creativity comes out in many different ways.
Yes. I
all at
cannot
once.
see how you could possibly be creative to making the same thing the same
Right,
way
that's right.
year in and year out. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. It is nonsense. And so it's one of those rules that I ignore.
Yes.
And support wholeheartedly anybody else who
That's right,
ignores.
that's right, that's
Which is
right.
from a club.
That's right.
Yeah.
We are creative in our lives. I mean, that's what
Exactly.
we are. We're
Yes.
creative people.
Yes, exactly. So I'm really excited about this
I'm looking forward to
Mother's
seeing
Day.
both of your work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So this is going to be very interesting. Do you know anybody that you are going, you know that you're going to recommend people to go for sure see and not miss on your floor in your building? That you know of, that they've been new people or people that or
I don't know whether I want to say point out particular people or something.
and new people that are on your floor that
there's a lot of new people.
There are?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
really
great.
surprising. We used to be the same people all the time, but it seems like there's been a lot of change. So, yeah, right. And what I have found, actually, is I probably shouldn't say this, but I think Vernon Street is the best. You know, I really
it's
do.
good to know.
No, we're really, don't you find that when we go around and see each other's work right beforehand?
Yes.
I mean, the quality of the work is incredible.
Yes.
And I've heard people say that as well.
Yes. Yeah.
That it's like a gallery show. I mean, it's really like it's not a lot of dross.
Yes.
Which is fabulous.
Well, this is the thing, that this is a workspace, and people are coming there to work versus live and work, which ends up a lot of people not being really artists, producing work so much when they're the art complexes that there are people work there and live there. A lot of the spaces are not occupied by working artists, and so you get a smaller selection, even though there is a larger area.
I guess what I mean, though, I think in the last couple of years we've gotten better. We've gotten a lot better than, I think we were always good, but it seems like the last couple of years it's been incredible. Walking around and seeing the work, it's just amazing what is going on Vernon Street.
Absolutely. I've been in contact with all of the artists that are there, and everyone is extremely enthusiastic. And I do find that there is a wide range of work. There's a lot of painters, and I think there's probably a majority of painters there.
Is that so? That's interesting.
But there is, I don't think there's anything that is missing either. I think that, from sound to mixed media sculpture to everything, like I've said before. But I think the work is very strong there, and I have to be a little political because I can't name names because I'm the coordinator this year. So, but speaking for all the artists, they work very hard, and I'm there almost every day, if not, often every week. And so I see all the artists, and they're in there. I don't have to make special plans to meet them there. They're already there working, and so it's just a case of knocking on their doors and saying, seeing what they're up to, and I know everyone has been scrambling to prepare.
Right.
So there's no doubt in my mind that the work will be thought about, and they'll be thinking about the public coming, and the opportunity that the public has to see all of that and experience and interact with the artist. Two things that I didn't get to say about open studios that I love more than anything is kids when they come to the open studios, because they tend to be the kind of critics they are. They're natural critics, and they don't have they haven't learned too much and they're honest. If they don't like it, they don't like it, and I've had such great experiences with them where I have to act, kind of run before they tackle a sculpture or something I have on the floor, and that sort of thing, and I think that's a great test, and to see that for me, I don't know about other artists there, but to see that reaction, that warms my heart. If I don't get a single smile from an adult, but I get a smile from a kid during open studios, it's always worthwhile. So
That's nice.
I have hope in the future, at least.
I never forget. Years ago, I was making these huge paintings, and I was talking to someone, and I saw the person standing next to me. Her expression just changed so suddenly, and she was looking at this little kid who had a toy car, on the ground, and then would go up over my painting and then go down. It's like, I didn't even realize that it just passed. I didn't get to see and enjoy it. it is definitely fun to have people of all ages.
Yes, right.
We unfortunately do not have elevators, but
Yes,
we have. If you're able to get up to the third floor on one building, you can see a lot of different studios, and the other two, there are 2 floors worth, and it's not too difficult to go up the stairs because they're not too high, so they are manageable to traverse. Do you have anything else to add?
Well, I'm sure that it'll be on the credits, but we haven't talked about the website that is available for people that
for directions.
for people that are looking for a preview.
Right, exactly. The website's
A number of the
cool.
artists have their artwork posted on their own page. You just go to www.vernonstreet.com, and a list of the artists participating will be there, a preview of the work, as well as the times and
Great.
a map available for directions coming from all directions of the Boston area. So it should be very simple, and you can actually, I think, even print it out from your on your printer if you need the map to take with you in the car.
Oh, that's very nice to know, because people often ask, that day, wondering whether or not, we are near public transportation or how to get there, and Somerville could be confusing, so a map is a handy thing to have.
And we are close by to, there are buses from, I think, Central and from Porter and Davis Squares.
What is it, 89 is it?
I believe so, from Davis Square, isn't that
89
correct?
from Davis Square.
And
No, 88.
88?
Yeah, 88.
88 is the
Yeah.
The
correct
number
one
of
from
buses
Davis
are-
Square.
Yes,
So that's
right,
the,
right.
take
To
the,
Leechmere, there
it's
is...
a red line.
Yes, right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's easy to do from public
Right.
transportation.
Right. And there is free parking.
And
There's
there
free
is-
parking both
Right
behind the
behind the
building and
buildings.
also in
Right.
Lagoon Square, which is not too far away. It's a walking distance, so it's ample parking available for people needing. I just wanted to thank you, Somerville Producers Group, for allowing us to have this opportunity, and this is Dead or Alive. We are we wanted to mention that this is a weekly program that is aired every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, and it's in Somerville. Will be rebroadcast on Friday at midnight, and also in Cambridge will be aired as well. So please do come visit us, and do tune in every week for this program, and we would love to see you at our event, and look forward to meeting you all. And good night. Thank you.